I just missed getting a little raccoon in the marsh on video. But anyhow, I got up this morning and I tried to go right to my desk and work, basically. And I've noticed, especially in the last few years, where I've just all this stuff has caused so much stress for me that's very hard for me to do. It's always been kind of hard to do, but it's particularly last few years, it's been very, very hard. And also there was a little bit of noise distraction and stuff, and I've been super sensitive to noise distraction even more than normal the last few years, and things like that. And so kind of grumpy, and but I did a couple of exercises. I have some stretch bands that I use to exercise with. I did a few exercises with that, and I got out here and went ahead and got out here and got some sunlight in my face. And I'm gonna go get some food, a little early lunch. And you're talking all in about 30 minutes, just a completely different mindset. And it's so important for people to share that knowledge with other people, because it's not just some unexplainable phenomenon that's happening. It's all based in science. And sunlight in our eyes has certain effects on our brain. It releases certain chemicals in our brain's chemicals. You don't have to take any external chemicals. I do have a coffee, but maybe one coffee a day for some people has a little bit of a benefit if it's the right time of day and it's not disrupting your sleep and all of that. But it's like coffee is one of those things, like anything, you start drinking too much of it and it has negative effects. So, but you don't have to be a coffee or tea drinker, but if you like coffee or tea, the right amount can be positive. But mostly, and the same thing with the types of food that you eat. The types of food that you eat will impact your body, your mental state as well. So you gotta be careful about not too much refined sugar and stuff like that. But these things like exercise, a little bit of exercise, walking releases brain-derived neurofactor, which is very important. You have to be in motion, really, and primarily, I think you have to be doing physical. I think when you drive, I feel like that also stimulates it a little bit, but I think it's mostly walking and running and that kind of thing, dancing, and your brain starts to produce this very, very important chemical in the brain. And the Greeks knew about it. They used to do their philosophizing by walking around, and they actually had a quote or a famous saying that was something to the extent of "no good ideas come unless you're walking." So they would do their lectures and things actually walking and in movement. So they were very aware of this. But also when you do strength exercises or resistance exercises, like with the bands or with weights or like calisthenics, where you're doing push-ups and pull-ups and stuff, that just the movement of our muscles, when we move our muscles, releases a lot of chemicals from within our muscle tissue into our nervous system, and stimulates our nervous system. And that's probably part of the reason for why, like when you're playing sports and stuff and you're all sore, and you get out and you get moving around, sometimes we think, hey, it was just the moving around is getting like blood flowing and all that, and of course it's part of it. But I think it's also while you feel better, like I'm all stiff, but now I'm going to get out and move around, and all of a sudden all the soreness goes away. Part of that is probably like just the fluid and the circulation and that kind of thing. But part of that is also because the body actually releases its own pain relievers, basically, and that's probably why we can get so much enjoyment out of physical work too, and why people will do a lot of physical work oftentimes for not that much money, is because it's sort of the body's kind of adapt for that. And so we sort of, when we first go out and do something that's physical and we haven't done it in a while, it might feel really stressful to our body and hard to do, and that's kind of like a barrier to entry for some people. But once you start doing a certain kind of job or thing that has a physical element to it, your body adapts to that very well. Like your brain cognitively learns how to do things most efficiently, and your muscles grow, and pretty fast too. And your body has this ability to kind of like produce this ongoing, as long as you're putting the right kind of food and stuff into your body, it kind of produces this sort of natural feel good kind of response to kind of allow our bodies to keep working, and that's why, and it's good. I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't be doing physical work or physical labor or those kinds of things. I'm just kind of explaining to why we can get into, like, it's almost like a hypnotic thing, like, I don't know, but like when I was building swimming pools years and years ago, and sometimes I start digging, and we had a lot of digging to do or something like that. And it was just like time would just pass, and you wouldn't even. I was like, dig this great big hole, and just it's like you didn't. It's like you didn't realize how much time went by. It's just the body does that. But I'm not saying I'm getting off track. But what I'm saying is that response, we should not ignore that. That's very powerful. It's very, very important for health and wellness, and using that in the right way. That doesn't mean we should push our bodies to extremes. Some athletes do that. That's not necessary. I mean, if you want to do something like that because it's meaningful to you, that's fine, but you can overdo it if you're just like, you have to find the right balance for yourself. And same thing with people who do physical work. A lot of times they break their bodies down because they kind of and it's because they do the physical work, but they don't do the other things that take care of their body. It's unfortunate because, I mean, if you're in an occupation where you're doing a lot of physical work or whatever, the people that are around you and you're the leadership of that business or whatever, or if you're the leader of that company, you need to, that's part of good operations, is to help people, understand good, healthy practices, how to eat the right food, how to do the right kind of stretching, how to take breaks if there's something wrong with how to take, rest days, and eat the right amount of food, and things like that, so that you can keep your body in good shape. But everything's the right balance. But the point about what our body does when we do physical activity, when we get sunlight in our eyes, when we do these things, it's something that all people on the other extreme of people who do a lot of manual work or physical work, or they're athletes or dancers or whatever. The other extreme of that is people who work in an office and at a desk, and that's not easy either. And so, people who do that and aren't encouraged to get up and move around and work out and eat properly and to balance, sitting at that desk, means that there's a lot of processes that their body are not activating that would both really make them better at their job, because their minds and everything would work better and they would feel healthier. But B, because just the quality of life, and what is life about? Life is not about one specific job or anything like that. It's about a good, well-rounded mental, social, physical, spiritual, balance of things. And when they all work together, they're not isolated from one another. So, good physical health helps with good mental health. Good mental health helps with good physical health. Good mental health and physical health helps with spiritual health. Spiritual health helps with mental and physical health. And same with the social aspect of it all. They all work together. So everybody's doing different things, but we have very similar biologies, and our tool belt of things to work with are very, very similar, more similar than when we realize. We say, oh, well, look at that person, they do that thing and I do this thing. We're so different. But really, it's not. I mean, the same things that will help a person who does construction work, or the same person who's a commercial fisherman, could will benefit in this from the same kinds of health benefits as a person who works in an office, and the person who works in the office, the same kind of benefits from having physical activity. It's like there's a balance in the middle between it all. But it can work fast, is what I'm saying. There's a long-term keeping your body healthy that's very important, and that's a consistent effort of eating well and exercising and not putting bad things into your body. I mean, exercise and your diet, and when you say diet, I don't just mean the food, but also other substances that you put into your body. It kind of all fits into the same category. Those two things are by far the biggest two things in terms of your physical health, which then affects your mental health. But that's the ongoing process. But there's the short-term process of just doing some of these things is profound in how fast it can work. So it's a lot of lecturing here. But it's important, and I just want to talk about it because I have this experience right here this morning. It's kind of like, 30 minutes ago, I was kind of grumpy and everything, and now I'm ready to go again. And it was just a few things, a few little exercises, a walk in the sunlight, and now I'm gonna get some food, and I'm back on track, and that's just a lot. That's just not me, but that's how it is for people, everybody. And so we need to share that information with one another. I love you.